Hello, everybody, and welcome to the long-awaited Arena Compendium for Witchwood. So here, I'm going to be rating all the cards from 0 stars to 5 stars, solely just for Arena. Let's go ahead and start. Now, of course, there's a little disclaimer. We do not know how the new set is going to be drafted, okay? So they might actually refer back to the rarity stuff where, you know, you get to draft between commons or rares or epics and stuff like that, which I think they will, because the old system that we're using now is based on win rates. So with that in mind, I'm just going to tell you how good each card is and when you should draft them. So let's start with Druid. First card we have is Witchwood Apple. For 2 mana, you get to put 3 2/2 treants to your hand, and we know that 2/2 treants do actually cost 2 mana. So this is a very slow card in Arena. 2 mana, draw 3, and the 3 cards you draw are 2/2s. So I'm not really huge on this. If your deck needs a little bit more late game, you can do this. This is interesting also because it has a mana sink, so if you can play the 2/2s anytime you want. So say you don't have a lot of 2-drops, right? Then you can actually use Witchwood Apple to kind of curve out in a sense. But yeah, I don't think you really want this. It is flexible, which is good. Flexibility is good in Arena. So I would actually give this 2 stars. I think this is reasonable, and it does affect the board because it does summon minions, so it's alright. Next up we have Ferocious Howl. For 3 mana, you get to draw a card, gain 1 armor for each card in your hand. So it's basically like shield block, and that's actually really bad for Druid because Druids do not have any weapons, right? Why shield block is playable for warriors is because they can use the armor properly, but Druids can never use the armor properly, unless you're attacking people with your hero power. So I would actually give this 0 stars. I think it's actually unplayable. So I never want to draft this. Next we have Druid of the Scythe. 3 mana 2/2. It doesn't matter, right? Because you have to choose between a 4/2 rush or a 2/4 taunt. Now, 3 mana 2/4 taunt is pretty bad, right? It's like a Squirming Tentacle. But a 3 mana 4/2 rush is really good, right? It's a Shadow Bolt at worst. And then if you hit something that's like a 1 attack minion, like the one we all know, if we hit the 3 mana 1/4 Stonehill Defender, then you're actually getting a great deal of it. So I think Druid of the Scythe is really, really strong. I would actually want this as my 3-drop, and I would give this 4 stars. I think this is actually very, very high up there. Not to mention that, you know, the 2 forms are beasts as well, so you get a little bit more synergy there. Onwards to the rares, we have Witching Hour at 3 mana for Druid as a spell. Summon a random friendly beast that died this game. Now this is gonna work quite often in Arena because Druid minions can transform into beasts, right? So you can get all those Druid minions, and you can also get all the neutral minions, and there's a lot of beasts. So this should be able to work. And the fact that it can go above the curve, which means that it can summon like a 4-drop or 5-drop beast, makes this pretty good. Of course, the downside to this is that if you don't have any beasts, you can't play this card. And if you don't draft enough beasts, then this card is going to be pretty bad. So all in all, I think this is just a fine card. It's going to be like a 2-star card for me. But there are some crazy decks that have a lot of high-cost beasts, which would play this. So it really depends on your draft, but I would not pick this early on if it's offered. Alright, next up we have a Forest Guide, 4 mana 1/6. At the end of your turn, both players draw a card. I don't know why you would want to play a 4 mana 1/6 in Arena in the first place, and I have no idea why you want a mirrored effect in Arena. This card is actually garbage. You just don't want to play this. So this is an easy 0 stars. Very, very bad. Alright, next up we have Bewitched Guardian. 5 mana 4/1 taunt. Battlecry, gain 1 health for each card in your hand. It literally just says Twilight Drake with taunt for 1 extra mana, yeah? Twilight Drake is very playable in Arena, right? It's really nice. There's a lot of cases where Twilight Drake becomes a 4/6, and even a 4/7 sometimes when you don't play anything. This does have taunt, so it does have a little bit of upside. So I think this is fine. I think you would draft this if you want this minion, and it's not like really crazy, but it's not really bad. So it's like a fair card, and fair cards are 3 stars. So I think this is fine. Whispering Woods is the 4 mana epic spell for Druids. You summon a 1/1 Wisp for each card in your hand. Now, for 4 mana, you just need 4 1/1s to for it to be good, right? So if you play this and you have 5 cards in your hand, that means you're actually going above the curve. So I think this is fine. If you play a card every turn before you play this, you're actually going to end up with 4. So if your curve is not as good and you skip out a little bit, then it's fine. So if you play this on curve, it's pretty good. The main problem is if you're top decking this card, which happens a lot in Arena, right? This is a 4 mana do nothing. So this is actually, there's a very low floor here. The ceiling is okay, but the floor is really low. And that basically tells me that this card is not that good. Sure, you can come with something with like Savage Roar or anything that can buff all your cards like Storm and Champion, but overall the floor is too low for this. I don't think the upside is high enough, so I'm gonna give this 1 star. Alright, next up we have Gloomstag. Now, quote unquote, okay? All these odd and even cards might not be draftable in Arena, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and say that they're not gonna be able to draftable because this just doesn't make sense, right? Like, how are you gonna get a deck that's only odd or even? So I think all the odd and even cards are not going to be able to draftable in Arena, just like Cthulhu cards are not able to be draftable. We still have to wait for official word from Blizzard, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. If I have to evaluate this, it's just a 5 mana 2/6 taunt. You know what? I'm just gonna not evaluate these cards for Arena because I'm pretty damn sure they're not going to be available. There's no way. There's just absolutely no way. If it is, then it's actually stupid. So I'm just gonna ignore this. Okay, so that goes for all the odd and even cards. So just put all of them in the dumpster. Duskfallen Aviana is the legendary for Druid. Each class has 2 legendaries in this expansion, so that's pretty cool. So 5 mana 3/7. On each player's turn, the first card played costs 0. I feel like that this is okay in Arena. Like, it's not amazing or anything. Your opponent probably can't kill this, and if you have a very high curve deck, then you know, you can actually outscale your opponents. This does suffer from the lower control problem, where your opponent kind of decides when this dies because this has more health than attack, and then after they play their 0 cost, they might just kill Aviana. And then you basically ramp your opponent up, which is really bad. If you play Aviana and they play FFA, then you'll be really sad, right? There are some situations where they don't, and maybe something good can happen, but overall, I'm not really big on this card, so a 1-star card for me. And finally, we have Splintergraft. For 8 mana, you get an 8/8, and then you choose a minion, and then you draw a 10 mana 10/10 copy of that into your hand. This is actually not bad in Arena, whereas, like, you know, like sometimes you just need a lot of value, right? And an 8 mana 8/8 is fine. Obviously, it doesn't have taunt, so it doesn't really protect you, but it does add a 10 mana 10/10. And in Arena, there's so many random effects that 10 mana 10/10 probably has at least like a battle card or death rattle or something to go along with it. So yeah, Splintercraft seems like it's gonna be fine. I don't think it's really insane, like, you know, your Tyrians or your Sunkeeper Tareems or whatever. But I think this is good enough that you think you would want to like play this, right? Like the downside is you play 8 mana 8/8, and that's not really that much of a downside to me. So I'm gonna give this, man, I really want to give this 4 stars, but I think it's more closer to a 3. But nah, it's kind of like Pyros, right? Pyros is 5-star card. Alright, you know what? I'm okay with giving this 4 stars. I think this is okay. I think this is good enough. Onwards to Hunter. We have the first Echo card. It's the Hunting Mastiff. 2 mana 2 run, Rush, and Echo. Actually, this is both the expansion mechanics, so I'll explain this the first time. So Echo means it's you can play this as many times as you want during that turn you played it. So it's kind of like Unstable Evolution from the previous stats, and after you end your turn, it disappears, basically. So, and Rush is basically charged, but you cannot attack the face. So what Rush technically says is, Rush minions can attack minions the turn they come in. So if a minion has both charge and Rush, yes, it can go face, okay? So that's all the mechanics of it. So 2 mana 2 run, Echo and Rush for Hunting Mastiff. This is actually pretty sweet. So it's kind of like a very versatile card where it's like a 2 mana 2/1 charge that can, you know, kill minions, which is like already playable. That's Bluegill Warrior, right? At 10 mana, it gets really, really nice. So you can play, for example, say play 3 of these. deal 6 damage to minions, and then play 2 more of these, and then you end up with you know, 2 2/1s that can't go phase, sure, but you dealt 6 damage to a minion. So the flexibility of this card is going to be really good. We're going to see a lot of repetition here, that all Echo cards in the arena are going to be better than they are in Constructed, because in Arena, you always need mana sinks. You always need to do as much stuff as you can in a turn. So all Echo cards are going to be really, really good in Arena. And I think Hunting Mastiff is actually one of those. So I'm going to give this 4 stars. I think it's really, really powerful. You just clear your opponent's board, or you can just swarm your board with 2/1s, and your opponent needs to deal with them. So very flexible card. I love it. 4-star card. Dire Frenzy is a common, very weird. 4 mana, you give a beast +3/+3. And then you shuffle 3 copies into your deck with +3/+3. Blessing of Kings, in a sense, right? It's a little bit smaller than Blessing of Kings. It is also gives you future value, right? So the copies you shuffle into your deck are probably going to be good draws. Whereas something like Gang Up, the copies you draw are not good draws because they're just kind of the same. So yeah, obviously the problem with this card is only affects beasts. So if you draft any neutral cards or any hunter cards that aren't beasts, then it doesn't really work with them. But if you get to put this on like some taunt beasts or some charge beasts or some rush beasts, then this can get pretty damn good. So I think this is just a fine card. I don't think this is out of the ordinary. So I'm gonna give this 3 stars. Vilebird Skitterer is a 5 mana 1/3 with poisonous and rush. So you play this, you can kill something, and then that's pretty much it, right? Obviously, you want to play this against a 2 attack minion so that it lives and leaves behind a poisonous minion. But at worst, this is an assassinate, right? So I think this is just fine. You kind of always play this, but I think it's not like better than assassinate, right? I don't think it's like ridiculously assassinate, because you can't actually choose any minion. You have to kill the taunt minion, right? Yeah, I think it's fine. I'll give this 3 stars. It's removal. Removal is removal, you know? So yeah, it's like an assassinate, but it doesn't affect Divine Shield, right? Divine Shield actually prevents poisonous from happening because it deals 0 damage. So yeah, I'm okay with giving these 3 stars. Onwards to the rares. We have Duskhaven Hunter. For 3 mana, you get a 2/5 stealth. And then each turn this is in your hand, swap its attack and health. So this swapping mechanic, when it's in your hand, it's going to be called the werewolf mechanic, right? It's a new mechanic that's found in a lot of werewolves in Witchwood. And for this one, it can either be a 3 mana 2/5 stealth or a 3 mana 5/2 stealth. Now, this is actually not bad. A 5/2 stealth is actually very above the curve, right? It's like a Magma Rager, but your opponent can't interact with it. And a 3 mana 2/5 stealth is also pretty above the curve because it's a 3 mana 2/5. It's a vanilla, but you have stealth. So I think this is just a fine card. It's a 3 stars. You would pick it up if you see one. Wing Blast is a 4 mana deal 4 damage to a minion spell. If a minion died this turn, though, this costs 1. This is ridiculous. Okay, this is actually ridiculous. 4 mana deal 4 is already pretty good, right? We see like Tidal Surge being played in all the time. Like removal is removal. The fact that this can cost 1 if you have Morbid, so if something died that turn, means that this is actually ridiculous. Like, hunters are all about getting on the board. So if you can out-tempo your opponent and then finish them off with your hero power, then it is just gonna be great. So, and its arena is so easy to kill minion, right? So I think this is an easy 5 star. The first 5-star card we see in Witchwood. I think this is actually just auto pick. The snowball potential is too high for this. Alright, onwards to Carrion Drake. For 5 mana you get 3/7 Dragon. So Dragon's kind of interesting. If a minion died this turn, it gains Poisonous. This card is great. So because it's a 5 mana 3/7. 5 mana 3/7 is very playable already. Like the stat line is great. It adds up well. And then, if it has Poisonous, it means that it has infinite attack. And infinite attack on a 7 health minion seems great for Hunter. I feel like this is just going to be amazing. I don't think that killing minions are going to be that hard, especially if Hunter, because you're playing so much stuff. And playing as a 5 mana 3/7 is already fine. So I think this is great. I think it's going to get 4 stars. I think this is a strong minion. Rat Trap is a secret, new secret for Hunters. After your opponent plays 3 cards in a turn, you summon a 6/6. So 6/6 for 2 is obviously really good. It's like a new meme or something. But the problem of this is that your opponent needs to play 3 cards in a turn. And how often are your opponent going to play 3 cards in a turn in Arena, right? Like, cost. They have to have something that discovers new cards or 1 mana to do something or whatever. And man, I feel like this is just not that good. Right? It's 2 mana, do nothing. It doesn't affect the board, right? With the other traps, at least your opponent can't attack or they can't trade or something like that. I don't like this card. I think I'll give this 1 star because at least it does something sometimes, but not good. Toxmonger is a 4 mana 2/4. Whenever you play a 1-cost minion, give it poisonous. Now this is actually really powerful, right? You turn all your 1-cost minions into infinite attack. This is very, very good. Now, if you have no 1-cost minions, this is really, really poopy. It's a 4 mana 2/4, so very, very awkward. Guess you should draft more 1-drops when you see this. I think this is fine. It's a build around in Arena. The sooner you... I think if you see this early on Arena, like in your draft, I think I would pick it highly. I think this is fine. I think you would pick this highly if you see this early on. But if you see this later on, you know if it's good. So I'm going to give this like... Drafting wise, I would give this a 4-star. So if you see this early, you can actually build a deck around it. But more realistically, the power level of this card is like more of like a 3 or like a 2. This one really depends on your draft, honestly. Let me just say that. Also very important to note that this does not work with Unleash the Hounds. It's whenever you play a 1-cost minion, not summon. Alright, legendaries, what do we have? Howlmaster Shaw is our Hunter legendary. For 4 mana, you get 3/6. Your other minions have Rush. This is ridiculous. This is actually ridiculous. The fact that you can sculpt the battlefield with Howlmaster Shaw, like, this is actually ridiculous. Like, your opponent needs to kill this, and your opponent will not be able to kill this. So, you play this on the empty board and you basically win the game. I just can't imagine you not winning the game when you play this. Because Shaw keeps going face, and your other minions keep on trading the other minions. This is 5 stars. This is very easy 5 stars. Even if it doesn't have text, the 4 mana 3/6 is fine. And this text is ridiculous. Now this is 5 star. It's really good. It's the auto pick in Arena, you know? Alright, the other legendary is Emeris. For 10 mana you get an 8/8 dragon. Alright, Hunter Dragon. Battlecry, double the attack and health of all minions in your hand. I mean, it doesn't have a very flashy effect. And, you know, the problem of Hunter in Arena is because you want to go face. But I feel like this is good enough that if you play this and your opponent has to deal with 8/8 and then deal with the threats that you put into play, right? So I feel like this is fine. I think this is just a fine card. I don't think it's backbreaking or anything. I'll give this 3 stars. Probably the worst class to put this in, obviously. Like, if you put this in other classes, it might be OP. But you're putting this in Hunter, so yeah, 3 stars. Alright, onwards to Mage. First card we have is Deep Freeze. For 2 mana, you get to freeze a minion, and if it's already frozen, you get to destroy it. So what Shadow should have been all along. I think this is bad. This doesn't affect the board. Even if you have stuff like Blizzard or Breath of Sindragosa or Cone of Cold and stuff like that, this is not really worth it. Like 2 mana for this effect is not good. So I'm gonna give this 1 star. I don't think it's good. Next up we have Vex Crow. Vex Crow is a 4 mana 3/3, and whenever you cast a spell, you summon a random 2-cost minion. This is ridiculous in Arena. Oh my god. The fact that you can just keep on summoning 2-cost minions with this means that this is a must kill, and if you're gonna just kill it, man, they're gonna have a very, very bad time. You're playing Mage, you obviously have a lot of cards, a lot of spells already, and 2-cost minions are really big. So I think this is insane. I'm gonna give this 4 stars. This is really the hot stuff in Arena. Very nice. Alright, onwards to the rares. Cinderstorm is a 3 mana rare mage spell. Deal 5 damage split across all enemies. This is exactly like Flame Burst from the tutorial. And there's also like Arcane Missiles. 3 mana, deal 5 randomly. I mean, you know, like, it's fine. It can't be that bad. If you compare it to Avenging Wrath, Avenging Wrath 6 mana, deal 8, right? Like, 6 mana, deal 8 is pretty damn good. So 3 mana, deal 5 cannot be any worse than that. So I think this is just a fine card. You will pick it. It's nice. So 3 stars. Alright, Curio Collector. For 5 mana, you get a 4/4 with whenever you draw a card, gain +1/+1. It's very important to note that this does not activate on your opponent's turn. Some people might say, well, obviously. Well, what that means is that you're playing a 5 mana 4/4. If your opponent can kill a 4 health creature, then this is not good, right? Now, if this survives a turn, you could actually get pretty ridiculous with this, right? This works with Arcane Intellect. This works with any card draw you have, and you can actually skip an upgrade, so you can like make this a bigger. And of course, your opponent has to kill this every single time. So I think like this is like this. I think this is worse than Reporter, like Daring Reporter in Arena, but it's still good. Like the floor is still fine. Your opponent needs to respond to this. So I'm gonna give this 3 stars. I think this is just gonna be okay. Next up, we have a Bonfire Elemental. 5 mana, 5/5 Elemental. With, if you played an Elemental last turn, you get to draw a card. So it's like the Elemental mechanic from Angoro. I think this is pretty close to pick this every time you see it, because it's a 5 mana, 5/5 Elemental in Mage is pretty damn good already, right? Like, just a 5 mana, 5/5 Elemental with no text is already really good. And the fact that it can actually draw you a card makes this really ridiculous. So I'm gonna give this 4 stars. Very, very strong. Next up, we have Book of Specters. 2 mana, draw 3 cards, discard any spells drawn. This is actually very good in Arena, right? Like, usually in Arena, you're not going to get that many spells, right? Like, the bulk of your deck is going to be minions. When you get this, on average, I'm pretty sure you're going to draw 2 minions and 1 spell. So it's a 2 mana draw 2, right? Sure, you discard the spell, but you are never going to draw it anyways, right? So the fact that it can go higher than that means that it's actually ridiculous. Like, the fact that you can do 2 mana draw 3 minions, like, that's actually breaking the game. I think this card is really good. I don't think this card is actually breaking anything, but man, this card is really good. I'm gonna give this 4 stars. Arcane Keysmith. Oh god. Oh my god. This card is oh my god. Oh, this is gonna be such a pain to play against. 4 mana 2/2. Discover a secret and put it into the battlefield. So obviously you're discovering Mage secrets, because Discover is your own class only. But holy jeez, like, you see this, you draft this, there's no way this is not insane. Because this scales with the game. Alright? Like, late game, you pick the mirror entities, or you pick the frozen clones, right? You pick the value cards. At early game, you can actually play stuff like explosive runes or whatever, right? The fact that you can sculpt your game plan around whenever you play this, and it's always going to be good, makes this insane, right? And also, Mage secrets are 3 mana. This is a 1 mana 2/2 with a 3 mana secret. So imagine if card says 1 mana 2/2, draw a secret and play it, right? Wouldn't that be like an insane card? 5-star, easy, auto pick in Arena. Alright, the Mage legendaries are pretty cool. First up, we have Archmage Arugal. For 2 mana 2/2, whenever you get to play it on the board, and if it survives, whenever you draw a minion, add a copy of it to your hand. Now, this could get very spicy, because you can play this early on as a 2/2, which is fine, whatever. And then if your opponent doesn't deal with it, it already drew your card. A 2 mana 2/2 that draws your card is really good. If you play this late game, it's also really good, right? You can play Archmage Arugal and then immediately play something like Book of Specters or Arcane Intellect or any card draw effects, and then you start to double up. So I think this is really nice. And this is a 2 mana 2/2. Like, what more can you ask for a 2 mana 2/2s, right? 2 mana 2/2s are playable in Arena. They're not good, right? But this has a very significant upside at late game. So I'm actually gonna give this 4 stars. You're gonna drown your opponent in card advantage. And mages are really good when they have card advantage, so 4 stars. And then, finally, we have Toki Time Tinker. Oh my god. 6 mana 5/5, Battlecry. Add a random legendary minion from the past to your hand. I can't imagine this being bad. This is actually insane in Arena, right? Like, a random legendary wild legendary, it's gonna be great. You can have stuff like Ragnaros and Sylvanas, like the Hall of Fame cards, right? You can have Dr. Boom. There's so many legendaries that are good. Obviously, they're the very shitty ones, right? But it's 6 mana 5/5 draw legendary. And the average legendary is going to be really good. So I think this card is great. I think you would pick this quite often. So I'm going to give this 4 stars.